Imagine being able to add accessories to Pokémon. Ribbons, scarves, necklaces, hats, some small vests for the more humanoid ones. And I don't mean that as in skins that only a few Pokémon get, but I mean that in a clothing system similar to what trainers have. Being able to have multiple slots on a Pokémon to put accessories in, 1 or 2 on each leg and arm, on the chest, 1 for the neck, on the head, 1 or 2 for the tail, and some for wings if available. So imagine one of your favorite Pokémon. You put a scarf on the neck slot, a ribbon on every slot for each arm it has. Isn't that something every long-time Pokémon player has dreamed of at least a few times? Even the recent Digimon games have a system like this. Compared to what I described, it's very rudimentary and only allows you to add hats to them, but it's there and it works. But now tell me, how many bad designs would you be willing to endure for this to be added to Pokémon games? As for me, honestly, by now I'm so starved for additional quality content in Pokémon games that I wouldn't mind if they only added a feature like this to add more ways to make their customers pay. Which brings me to the topic of this video. As someone who watched a lot of content on video games in general, I know that the topic of microtransactions in games is always a controversial one. Quite many outspoken people are against it, and yes, it absolutely is a predatory way to get more money out of your customers for something that usually should be freely available inside the game. But with Pokémon, we already have the 2 different versions with minor differences, both being sold for full price, and at least I personally think that's far worse than cosmetic microtransactions. And just to be clear, when I'm saying that I wouldn't mind microtransactions, I mean that the clothing system should have a dozen options you can get for free, that then later is further expanded by Clothes only paid DLC. And with that, hello there! In case you're new, I'm Zeyc, some random idiot on the internet that makes overly critical videos primarily on a children's game that's very dear to my heart. So to get back to my preface from the start, we all probably at one point dreamed about the possibility to give our Pokémon clothes to make them more unique. And the truth is that this will very, very likely never happen in the mainline Pokémon games. It's simply a lot of work. You would have to either make clothes for every single Pokémon, or go through every Pokémon and design a system that automatically scales and positions the clothes properly on them. Personally, I'm not a fan of this, but I'd rather get a Pokémon customization system like this with microtransactions than never getting it at all. And I believe it would even make sense for them to add this. If we just compare the numbers of the mainline games with, for example, Pokémon Go, Sword and Shield sold 24 million times, and I couldn't find a proper number for how much they made, which is why for now I'll be going with a rough estimate of 1.7 billion US dollars just through sales of the game and DLC. This number comes from Sun and Moon selling 16 million copies and making nearly 900 million US dollars, while Sword and Shield not only increased in sales, but also increased the base price per game and additionally sold DLC. Now let's compare this to Pokémon Go. According to the website Statista, Pokemon Go made 900 million in 2021 alone. And more than 4 billion in the last 6 years, while basically releasing near no content compared to the mainline games. Meanwhile, the revenue for Sword and Shield was over 4 years, and considering Scarlet and Violet come out at the end of this year, making Sword and Shield obsolete, I'm pretty confident in saying that they won't sell much more copies. Obviously, it's not just Sword and Shield that were sold during that time frame when it comes to the mainline games. Pretty much every year a new game comes out, which for that year increases the revenue made through the main games by quite a bit. But the point I'm getting at here is that Pokemon Go makes nearly as much, if not more, than the main console releases. And this, even though it only receives updates which are by far dwarfed by the main titles when it comes to the work required in making them, where the console games require the creation of a whole world for it to play in, a story, creating new Pokemon together with new moves, new characters and completely new clothes for the trainer. All Pokemon Go has to do is take the already pre-made models for Pokemon they haven't added yet and give them a small amount of possible moves, which for the most part are just copy-pastes when it comes to animations compared to other moves, and every now and then add new clothes for the players to buy. I very much could see GameFreak copy this tactic of selling clothes in the mainline games, but honestly I don't think that people are that interested in buying clothes for the trainer with real money. Obviously they are in Pokemon Go, but at least to me it's different for the console games. Pokemon Go is far more centered on the trainer. You walk around, throw balls at Pokemon, and only every hour or so get to actually use them when you get to fight at a gym that your team doesn't already own. And even then, you're most likely using the random Pokemon you caught that has a type advantage and the highest points. Pokemon Go feels quite detached from your Pokemon. You never actually bond with them because of how rarely you even get to use them, combined with them most of the time not even being the best option or them quickly being replaced by something stronger. Meanwhile, in the console games, you carefully pick a team of up to 6 Pokemon, which you most likely are going to use throughout the whole game, battling every few minutes and bonding with them while the trainer is just standing in the background. It's like in Pokemon Unite. Of course there are cool outfits for the trainer, and you obviously want them too, but if they give you the choice between a cool skin for a Pokemon or cool trainer clothes, then pretty much everyone is going to choose the skin for the Pokemon. I quite often rag on the mainline games for lowering the quality standards with each game, which is why I kind of hope they'll add a system to clothe your Pokemon, even if it's just a vehicle for them to sell you DLC Pokemon clothes. More features are always welcomed if they're not too intrusive, and I'm very certain Pokemon Clothing would be a very welcomed, especially if you combine it with following Pokemon. I feel like these two mechanics are the two most wished mechanics of any Pokemon fan, including riding your own Pokemon as a third. And as long as they're not making the free variant too shallow, I'm sure the community is going to eat it up. Hell, I already mentioned it, but even Digimon games have this feature. Well, it's not particularly well made, but they have it. The only problem they have is that you don't get most of them through normal play. I'm pretty sure you only get one through finishing the story, and all the other ones are locked behind online battles against other players. And even if you get them, they most of the time just clip through your Digimon due to them just being scaled up and down to fit them. But I'd still appreciate even something as simple as this if it were to come to the main Pokemon games. And if Pokemon were to sell clothing packs for $5 that 30% of the player base buy, then they might be able to make 40 million with each pack. Compared to the numbers the games themselves make, this isn't too much money. But if you sell 3 packs that are bought by that many players, then you'd easily make another 10 million without the requirement for that much work, while also giving your player base something they wished for literally decades. I know that Pokemon is quite slow when it comes to innovation, and we're already getting the open world we've been hoping for so long. But if they were to add a Pokemon Clothing system on top, then I'm pretty sure Scarlet and Violet, even if they have a shitty game progression and bad story, would still become many's favorite Pokemon game of all time. I know at least for me it would. Well, at least until a better Pokemon game with a Pokemon Clothing system comes out. But what do you think? Is this a good idea? Would you like to have a system like this, even if they only do it to monetize it? Do you fear them going too far with microtransactions if they were to do them? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, like and comment if you enjoyed this little idea and want to help me out a bit. Thanks for watching, Zeyc out, and hope to see you in the next one.